Good afternoon and welcome once again to TNN Motorsports live coverage of NASCAR Busch Grand National Racing. Hi everybody, I'm Glenn Jarrett. This week's event is the Nestle Chilled Beverages 300 from Lanier Raceway. That's located in the North Georgia foothills surrounding beautiful Lake Lanier. This is a beautiful facility, one of the drivers' favorites. Actually, there are 3 major motorsports complexes in the immediate area. Right up the road is the Atlanta Dragway, and just across the street is Road Atlanta. My 2 colleagues, Mike Joy and Neil Bonnet, are supposed to be here to help me cover this Busch race, but I can't find them anywhere. Evidently, they must have taken a wrong turn somewhere.
I tell you what, folks, the people at TNN told me to get over here in North Georgia and we was going to cover a race. I was looking for a Busch race. Man, I'm at the wrong place. These guys don't have any turns, and that's a little bit quicker than a Busch car. I got to find Mike Joy.
Well, Neil, if you want corners, I can loan you about 8 of them. There are 12 turns here at the 2.5-mile Road Atlanta course in North Georgia. When I asked at the rental car counter for them to send me to the biggest race in Georgia this weekend, they directed me here where the IMSA Camel GT Series is out in force. And Neil, some of these cars have V6 engines, but they're mounted behind the driver. And of the 12 turns, most of them are right-handers. And these drivers don't drawl. Half of them speak French or Portuguese or German. Where's Kenny Wallace? Where's Joe Nemechek? And where's the TNN truck? And what's going on here?
You guys are unbelievable. Get back over here where the real stock car racing is getting ready to take place. You saw the country music video at the top of the show with Coach Jerry Glanville of the Atlanta Falcons. Well, unfortunately, he got beat up again. Just moments ago, NASCAR decided that he could not use one of the provisional spots that were open to start today's race. Jerry, had to be a big disappointment.
It really was. We missed the starting field by 22 one-thousandths of a second, which isn't much time. And unfortunately, as you know, we were running good enough early in the day, and we didn't run it when we had to run it.
Well, we will see you again, though.
Well, we're disappointed, but we're not discouraged. We'll be back.
Okay, stay tuned for TNN's live coverage of the Nestle Chilled Beverages 300 here from Lanier Raceway.
300 on TNN is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste, so get out of the old, get into the cold. And by Split Fire Spark Plugs, more power, more mileage, or your money back. We found it. I don't know, Rocky. I got to get me a new map. But we're here at Lanier Raceway, a track that drivers like, Neil, and a track that we think will give us a great 300 laps today.
Mike, I tell you, it's a great little facility. And last week at Hickory had some problems, and our race turned out to be a demolition derby. And the turnaround there was these crews. Most of them brought the same race car here they had at Hickory. There's been a lot of work going on, and now they're ready to do some good, hard racing.
I think you had the best line of all last week when you told us that these drivers will never remember who they were mad at the first 250 laps of that race.
I tell you, when you're on a short track and somebody bumps you, a driver tends to remember that. And when the race is over, he usually moseys over to the other guy's car and talks about it. But you can't jump on 25 to 30 guys at a time, and they had to forget about it. They're ready to go racing. Let's go to the Haviland update.
Last Saturday, the Busch Series returned to Hickory, North Carolina for the rained-out from February Mountain Dew 500. What would unwittingly become the most action-packed Busch Grand National race in history. Steve Grissom started on the pole with Dale Earnhardt subbing for Ken Schrader alongside. Turn 4 was Calamity Corner. Watch Bobby Labonte and Jimmy Spencer slide away. The red flag would fly twice for the race surface, newly paved, breaking up in Turn 4. The aggregate of the asphalt came to the surface and laid there. It was like racing on gravel at times. It helped contribute to a record 26 caution flags. The strangest one came when Jeff Gordon broke a crankshaft pulley in his Ford, which slid underneath and cut a tire, forced him out of the race. Then Ward Burton gets into the back of Mike Wallace in one of a multitude of incidents, taking the loosened bumper cover from Wallace's car completely off. It ended up in the dry sump belt of Todd Bodine's car, knocking Todd out. Point leader Kenny Wallace had a tougher day than most, spending a lot of time behind pit wall. Tommy Houston came from 2 laps down, and look at the right side of that car. A hard-fought, hard-earned victory that broke a 50-race winless streak for Houston here at his home track. Kenny Wallace remains atop the points parade, but Joe Nemechek closes in. Jeff Gordon was 3rd, Robert Presley, and Steve Grissom, the top 5 coming here to Lanier.
Sitting alongside me is one of the fellas involved in that point battle, right in the thick of it. Also on the pole here today, your 4th pole of the year. Jeff Gordon, you guys have really got this car hooked up today.
Yeah, I guess these guys on this Baby Ruth racing team are trying to make me look good, and they're doing a good job at it right now.
Well, you got to feel confident. The last time you were on the pole, you brought it home in 1st place.
Well, you know, Georgia's been real good to us, the state of Georgia. We're in Georgia again, so maybe we can do it again. So it's running really good. We'll see.
Well, they're firing them up. Let's go back up topside to the clueless twosome.
Thanks a lot, Glenn. We have found the right racetrack. Word is, though, that Jerry Glanville, as he does at every Falcons game, did leave 2 tickets for Elvis at the box office. Don't know if those have been claimed today. Let's have a look at the starting grid for today's Nestles 300 here at the 3/8 mile Lanier Raceway in North Georgia. On the pole, once again, Jeff Gordon has been the king of qualifying all season long. He's in Bill Davis Baby Ruth Ford. On the outside pole, good strong run for the Darlington race winner, the Alliance training machine. That's Robert Presley. Bobby Labonte on the inside of row number 2 in the Slim Jim car, and Chuck Bound, who went wire to wire to win this race in 1990, starts 4th. Steve Grissom, the Hickory pole sitter, will line up 5th in the Channel Lock car. 6th, that'll be Jeff Burton, the TIC Financial Services machine. Back in the 7th spot, inside of row number 4, we find Joe Nemechek driving the Texas Pete's car. Alongside Joe, that's Sir Ward Burton, the Rockingham race winner, will line up in the Gwaltney's machine. Tommy Houston, with good momentum from that Hickory win, qualified today in the 9th position for Rosa Stores. And Kenny Wallace, driving for Dirt Devil in the Pontiac, the point leader, goes off 10th. In the 11th spot, that'll be Jim Bound in the Bound family racing effort. And outside of row number 6, Todd Bodine had a tough day back at Hickory. Who didn't? Inside of row number 7, Butch Miller, he's on the Hoosier tires, and they could well be a factor today. Outside of the 7th row, that's where you'll find Tom Peck in the number 19. In row number 8, Jeff Green, first car out of the race at Hickory, hoping for much better here today. And outside of row number 8, Mike Wallace has that Daly's first aid car patched up. Mike Porter, the coal miner from West Virginia, brings his car to position number 17. Right alongside the Gino's Pizza Wagon for Bobby Donner. In the 10th row, the Staff America holds for Jack Sprague. And starting 20th, the rookie in the DuPont Chevrolet, Ricky Craven. Steve Boley, the dirt tracker from Iowa, brings the Jack Ingram car to position 21, and local driver Jason Keller pops up in 22nd. Clifford Allison is here, new sponsorship. And Richard Lassiter, the Innkeeper car out of Arkansas. That's the Sam Ard car. In row number 13, you'll find Mike Oliver and local driver Sammy Pegram. And then back in the 14th row, Tracy Leslie had a disappointing qualifying run. Brad Sorensen is back there as well. He's another local driver hoping to make good here this afternoon. Kenny Wallace will be carrying our in-car camera today in the Felix Savati's Dirt Devil Pontiac. There's a look on board at Tommy Houston alongside Ward Burton just ahead. We'll also have a rear bumper cam on Kenny's car. You'll see what he gets a snout full of as they run here today. We're going to go green this time by. Once again, Jerry Glanville was unable to take one of those provisional spots because you have to have points to be in the top 30 points to get a provisional. As it was his first Busch Grand National attempt, they could not put him in a provisional spot.
Mikey was real close to making the race. He just barely missed it, and he's going to have to do it another day.
That was the Lewis Cooper car. Green flag. As we watch Jeff Gordon on the inside haul them up out of turn number 2. Robert Presley is second. Bobby Labonte third. Chuck Bound fourth. Front 5 go single file. Steve Grissom in 5th. Lap 1 of 300 here at the 3/8 mile at Lanier. Steve Grissom out there on the outside, right side of your screen. Now drops in line. No, he doesn't.
Mike, you know, that might be something we see this week that we didn't see last week. The outside lane on this racetrack is usable. They can run low and run high, so it should be a lot better race with 2 lanes to work with.
Jeff Gordon has jumped out to a surprising lead here in only 3 laps. Robert Presley in second. Bobby Labonte, Chuck Bound, Steve Grissom, then it's Joe Nemechek, and Jeff Burton fighting side by side with Tommy Houston. The race here for second spot. And here comes Labonte on the inside. Presley's giving him a lot of room on the bottom.
Mike, I think he's working that outside lane to see if he's able to stay out there. A lot of times if you get a car, these guys are going to go 300 laps on the same set of tires. That outside lane is a little easier on the tires. You don't have to pinch it down. If a man can work out there, he might be better later on in the race.
We talked to both the field engineers of Goodyear and Hoosier before today's race. Wayne Torrance of Goodyear told us they developed their tire compound for this race when the initially advertised race distance was at 200 laps. He's not sure if they have a 300-lap tire.
Mike, we got the 27 car going by with a hood up on it. The hood flew up on the 27 car, and he dropped it back. They're racing up front.
Good battle for second spot still. Presley hangs on to it on the outside. These cars up front on Goodyear's. We also talked to Hoosier Tires' Bob Newton, and he said they developed their compound for the track without regard to how long the race is, because the tire rule has a tendency to change from race to race. The rule, though, is in effect today. 2-lap penalty if you pit for tires under caution.
Boy, Jeff Burton, Mike, just stretched out race start. Here we are in the 27 car. The hood flew up, and he ran about 3 laps like that, and they made him come in to get the thing straightened out.
He had plenty of room to see but in the gap underneath the hood, but they're going to have to pound it out to get it down. Very tough break for the Gwaltney's car. Also, Jason Keller out of Greenville, South Carolina, is in the pits early smoking. Tough day for Ward Burton.
Mike, when they damage a car like that right there, these things are kind of precision fit the hood area, and those holes won't line up on those hood pins, and it's going to be hard to get that car back in the race without. They'll probably have to take tape and bungee cords to hold the hood on the car. And there they are stringing the bungee cords over the left front, taping this side down, but still going to be hard to keep it down.
He's lost 2 laps. That'll be 3 this time by. Battle back at 5th spot. Joe Nemechek and Steve Grissom have been side by side the last 3 laps here, and neither one will give an inch.
Now, that's what's good about a little racetrack like this. This is an excellent facility for these type cars. You see them run side by side, and the guy doesn't have a preferred line. If his car works out there, he can race it just as hard on the outside, and they're going to be doing this all night long.
Now, you see the right side of Joe's car is a little beat up. That's from Hickory. That's not from here. They brought the same car they raced at Hickory, and the right side of that Texas Pete 87 looks like a bag of walnuts.
Yeah, I think they just decided to fix it as best they could.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen the following week, and NASCAR gives you 2 weeks to correct the problem with your race car.
Trouble front straightaway. Clifford Allison and Richard Lassiter going into turn number 1 get together, and we have the first caution of the day. It comes out at lap 15.
Mike, it looked like they got hung up in the middle of the straightaway here and went down in turn 1.
Jeff Gordon, the runaway leader in these first 15 laps. Robert Presley, Bobby Labonte, Chuck Bound, and Joe Nemechek. Here's how they're running. Under this caution, Clifford Allison, Ward Burton, and Jim Bound made pit stops. And we're getting close to being set to go back to green. Piece of metal on the track, so we'll be under caution for another lap or 2 here, and we'll take that time to give you an idea of what happened. There is Jeff Gordon, who has led every lap so far, starting from the pole. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, you saw the big lead that Jeff Gordon jumped out to. He told me right before he took off at the start of the race that he was a little worried. The car is hooked up so well, it's turning so well, that he didn't think they could keep it tight all day. And what he's doing right now is very typical of just that situation. He's got to be real careful not to burn the tires off that car. It could get real loose on him, so let's see how he handles it from here on out. Also, the 27 car, the hood situation, they just simply forgot to put the hood pins in the car. They did not go through inspection. Somebody just forgot to do it.
Gosh, such a simple thing and easy to overlook, and how costly it can become. Let's have a look at how this caution was created.
Mike, here we see down the front straightaway. They got hung up right there at the start-finish line. Clifford Allison. There's Clifford headed down the inside. I didn't know he hit the wall, but he did hit the inside wall, and Richard Lassiter stops just before it gets to the wall, but they got together coming off 4 and turned sideways at the start-finish line.
First caution of the day, and we're going to go back to racing here in 1 lap. Here's another look at it from the speed shot at the start-finish line.
Yeah, there they are coming off the 4th turn. And it looks like the Richard Lassiter, there's Clifford right up against the wall, and they got together kind of pinned against the wall. And it looks like the back of that car jumped off the wall, and they spun down to the inside.
So we'll look for green here at Lanier, coming up about lap 22. And Jeff Gordon will pull them off the corner, down this front straightaway, and into 1. This track only 3/8 of a mile. And look at how quickly Each corner, he's gaining a car length on Robert Presley.
Yeah, Mike, and what's unique about Presley, he's willing to take that outside line lap after lap after lap. And I'm just telling you that later in the race, that's going to be an asset to him. Pinching the car down inside uses up a lot of tires. If he can run that outside lane, later on, he's going to be in good shape.
Presley looking a little loose in the middle of 3 and 4, and that allows Bobby Labonte to close right up. We're single file through about the first 15, 20 cars, except that 6th spot for Tommy Houston and Steve Grissom battle. Jeff Gordon, already a winner on the tour. He has had a lot of offers to move up or over into other forms of racing, many at the end of last season and some already this year, but he said no. He says, I want another year in this series, at least one more year, and I think that's a good choice.
Mike, I think general consensus, he could do it right now, but he's a smart enough young man. He says, I might go up there now, but give me another year of this, and then when I go up, I'll really, really be ready. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's really using his head.
Good battle for second right behind him. Bobby Labonte had a look inside of Robert Presley. Nothing there. And there's another 2 drivers whose names have come up in talk of what Winston Cup rides are open or might be. Presley and Labonte both.
You know, a perfect example, Jimmy Hensley just moved into Cale Yarber's car and qualified very well at Martinsville. So there's a lot of these Busch drivers capable of driving Winston Cup cars. This is a perfect training ground for them right here.
That's right. Hensley is at Martinsville, where he qualified in the top 10 in Cale's car. Best run it's had in a while. And the Don Beverly car is not here. The car that Hensley has driven on this circuit the last couple of seasons.
When I was up at the drag strip today, I was talking to Don Beverly. He was tickled to death the way Hensley qualified at Martinsville.
That's great. Jeff Gordon, you see the lead he's building on Robert Presley. With Bobby Labonte 3rd, Chuck Bound 4th. 5th, Joe Nemechek. 6th, Steve Grissom. 7th, Tommy Houston. 8th, Jeff Burton. 9th, Kenny Wallace. And 10th, Todd Bodine, who I will learn to stop calling Toddley. Kyle Petty started that. Gosh.
Kyle Petty starts a lot of things. You can't say everything he says. You know, Mike, at the first of the season, we kept hearing everybody say, boy, the Ford V6 motor just not running. It's not capable of running with the Buicks and the Chevrolets. And I guess those days are over. Not only is Ford strong in Winston Cup, but this little 6-cylinder right here has really performed well all season long.
Ernie Elliott and Jack Roush's folks have done a lot of research work for Ford on that V6 engine, and it is paying off. Gordon with a win and a pile of pole positions already.
Mike, they almost fooled themselves. They went to Daytona, ran pretty good, and then, you know, when we went to Hickory before the first rain out, they qualified lousy. They couldn't figure what was going on, and they'd left a restrictor plate on the motor. And now they took the plate off, and they don't have any excuses. That thing can race with anybody.
To add insult to injury, Bob Labonte came over and pointed it out to him. They hadn't noticed. They had blown their good motor just before qualifying and installed the Daytona test motor in the car to go run and qualify without realizing the restrictor plate was still on it that they had tested with. Bob Labonte comes over, yeah, think how fast you'd have gone if you hadn't had that plate. What plate?
If it keeps running like this, they'll be putting a plate on him.
I think they might. Jeff Gordon out in front. That car also continues to collect backing. Baby Ruth, the major sponsor, they have just signed Holiday Inns to a major associate sponsor program for 1992. Trouble in 4. One car is way up near the wall. Almost gets it, but saves it as Jim Bound battles along. There's the car that was nearly in the fence. Mike Oliver from Alabama. The Deep South Racing Pontiac.
Mike, it looked like he lost a tire going down in the 3rd turn, and he did a great job. The thing just went straight when he got it. He just kept it off the wall, and now he's got it out of the line, and there's cautions coming out. The right front is down. It looked like he lost it going in the corner.
And there's Jeff Gordon, your race leader, at lap 38. We're under the 2nd caution of the day. Gordon has led every lap. And as we take this break, let's get a look at his outlook for this 1992 racing season.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've won a race, and that's what far beyond our expectations. So, you know, we've had some really good runs, and we've had some bad runs. So, if we could get the consistency down a little bit more, I think we got a heck of a run for this.
Viscosity being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. We're about 3 laps under green from this last caution period. Again, Jeff Gordon out front, and Ward Burton made him run hard those first couple of laps. Kenny Wallace is reported as smoking a bit. NASCAR officials having a look at the 36 car.
There's reports that there's a little bit of oil coming out of the car, and it is smoking just a little bit at the end of the straightaway this early in the race. I'll have to take a look at that.
Riding along with Kenny from the in-car camera as he goes by Tommy Houston. Look at that pack up ahead of him. There's his view of it. Looks like a lot of room there on the inside under Joe Nemechek. There's not. Steve Grissom fills that hole. That's not a lot of room. And right behind, close company, there's Jeff Burton and Tommy Houston.
Boy, these little short tracks, the springs in these cars are so soft on a short track. Look at that spoiler. When they go in the corner, the spoiler almost hits the ground. And if you look to the car to the left, it has some aluminum where it just rubs off when it does touch the ground.
50 laps of 300 complete. Clifford Allison back in the race after a lengthy pit stop. And you're riding with Kenny Wallace. He's in 7th place behind Steve Grissom in the 31 car.
It looks like Kenny Wallace's car is able to get down in the corner real good. He's able to gain going in the corner, but he loses just a little bit of ground up off the corner. And that could be a characteristic of the car, a little bit tight for him. He can really get in, but he can't get off the corner like he needs to.
Go back.
Well, that's a nice little pack up. They're going to track 3 abreast. We're talking about how nice this facility is. You go 2 abreast. Wow. They're going to track 3 wide for a while.
This looks like a rematch of last week's battle. Mike Wallace is in there. Jack Sprague is part of that pack. And who was the other one? Tracy Leslie was the other one. He qualified toward the back and is not quite up amongst that group. But they are going to trade a little paint. Tom Peck in that white and orange number 19. Mike Wallace up the high side. And here comes Butch Miller on the bottom. 75, the Food Country car. And they're 3 wide again.
3 wide off the corner. When you get it down there, something's got to happen. And it looks like they're able to work real wide on this racetrack. And boy, that's a great little show. When we get to a place like we're last week, where you have a little bit of problem and you just got a single file it all night, but these guys are able to race anywhere on this racetrack.
This track is so wide, Neil, if you started parking cars, you could probably get them about 8 or 9 wide before you got to the wall.
Yeah, but now they might try 3 wide, but the rest of it out there, they better not use that part.
No, sir.
That area out there is just strictly for wrecking, Mike.
Wrecking, not racing. Good battle here, mid-pack. Ricky Craven, the DuPont 99. 75, Butch Miller. 20 is Mike Wallace, and 19, Tom Peck. Bobby Dodder's there right in the midst of it. And the 54 of Jason Keller, a couple laps down. There's Jack Sprague in 48. He and Todd Bodine now hooked up. That's 11th place for Sprague. And that Staff America car, the Fred Turner car, number 48, at 11th position. Todd Bodine right with him. Todd had one of the strangest things ever happen to him last week, as you saw in the Haviland update. Mike Wallace's bumper cover got torn off and lodged itself in the oil sump drive belt of Todd's car, and he said it wrecked that engine about $12,000 worth. It was just a major disaster.
Mike, for the people who don't understand, these motors, the oil pans in them are flat. The oil is carried in a tank inside the car. There's an external pump that pumps the oil from the engine back to the tank, and when that belt comes off, it's just like draining every bit of oil and keep running it. It's the kind of RPM, 7,000 or 8,000 RPM, it doesn't take but about a lap or two and you wipe them out.
No, you might as well just put a big hole in the motor and let the oil run out. In fact, it's usually what happens once that belt comes off.
It'll put a nice hole in everything under the hood.
Now Todd has the inside on Sprague, but again, same thing. The car on the outside here seems a little like Martinsville, Niels. The car on the outside has a little better jump off the corner here.
Yeah, at a track like this, we see the guys on the inside having to really pinch the car down. That means they're having to turn the wheel too hard to the left. When you turn it hard to the left, then you want to kick the rear out from under the car. So that inside line really works the tires real hard on the car. And one reason they're working so hard is that thing of Jeff Gordon's. We're watching these packs of cars in the pack. He is running so fast, they've got to start thinking already about getting lapped. He's coming so quick, they've got to race real hard to stay in the lead lap.
Jason Keller has gone to the pits. Jim Bound in the pits with the hood up on his car. Keller's car has now gone behind the wall and out of the race. Mike Wallace, shown there, running just outside the top 10, and up front, having just lapped Richard Lassiter, is the one of Jeff Gordon. Gordon running on a string and running out by himself. See just ahead, Mike Oliver just ahead of the leader. 29 was showing a good bit of smoke and still is down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and he's coming in out off the track right now. We had a report earlier that Jeff Gordon had made the statement his car felt so good and turned so good he's afraid it might get loose. Glenn Jarrett had told us earlier about that, and now they said they are getting reports that his car is getting loose, but while it's getting loose, he's driving away from the field.
There's Mike Oliver making his pit stop. And back with the leader now, Jeff Gordon. 7th place, there's a good battle. Here it is, Tommy Houston on the inside. What great momentum they picked up at Hickory, winning that race. A tough weekend for Tommy, losing his dad that weekend. But then winning the race and coming here with, I think, renewed confidence. They qualified well. They were up in the front 4 rows in qualifying, and now he's running hard against Steve Grissom.
Mike, he's been such a consistent winner through the years. And you kind of, at times, I talk to him, and you kind of get to saying, well, man, what's wrong? Why can't I win races? And you almost lose self-confidence at times. And a win like that will really be a big boost to that entire family and his operation.
Plus, you go 50 races, Neil, you got time to question just about everything about the whole operation. From licking the stamps to put them on the bills, you know, to your own ability. I mean, just everything comes into question.
Here he is. He's working real hard on the Steve Grissom to get by. And we'll see what we're talking about with the car loosening up off the corner. He just clears. If he can ever clear him enough to go to that outside line, he's okay. Watch up off of this corner. Watch the back end try to get out from under him up off the corner. We lost him right off. But every time you hold it down there, you just got to feed the gas up or you spin the rear wheels.
Let's go back up toward the front. Out the back bumper of Kenny Wallace's car at Chuck Bound. The only driver to lead the last driver to lead every lap of a Busch Grand National race when he won here in 1990. Green flag to checker.
Mike, whatever problem Kenny Wallace was having earlier in his car, we see now I don't see the smoke anymore, so it might just been overfull with oil.
Okay. Looks like they're pushing Jim Bound out of the race. Number 98 car. Jeff Gordon is the race leader here at Lanier, Georgia. 75 of 300 laps completed. We'll be right back. Today has just come out a rather harmless spin down in turn number 2 by Richard Lassiter in the Sam Ard Innkeeper car, but he's going again and is okay. He was trying to accelerate up out of turn number 2, and he just got into the side of Tommy Houston. Let's have another look here.
They're entering the first turn, and just like you said, he's on the inside. He gets into Tommy Houston, and he doesn't want to hit Tommy, so he lifts and turns hard left, and he loops the car around. He could have held his line, you know, probably turned Tommy Houston around there, but he did stay down low enough not to cause a problem.
Former college linebacker from Arkansas. Behind the wheel of Sam Chevrolet. And pit stops, Ricky Craven, Mike Wallace, and Ward Burton will come on to pit road. Mike Oliver has made his stop.
And I'll say one thing, Mike, we won't have to worry about watching them change tires because these guys have got to go the entire distance on 4 tires, so the only thing they're going to be doing is making chassis adjustments and putting a little bit of fuel in them.
Mike Porter is also on pit road. 2-lap penalty if you change tires under the caution flag. Mike Oliver's troubles continue.
The car's been smoking lap after lap, and he'll slow down and it won't smoke bad, and then he'll pick up the pace and they'll black flag him. Yeah, you must have a severe oil leak on a valve cover or on the tank or something, but they can't get it corrected. They've tried 3 or 4 times, haven't fixed it yet.
Tracy Leslie makes the stop, and Ward Burton is back in. They're checking the front end on Ward's car. Thought he might have a tire problem. They looked at all 4 and sent him back out. 1 to go, and we'll go back to green.
Mike, I think one thing they're concerned about, Mike, today they were looking at those tires. They were looking at wear.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about, 2-lap penalty. Sometimes the 2-lap penalty is better than breaking a tire down, blowing it out, and knocking the fence down. So they're going to have to stay on top of the wear, and you might have to suffer the penalty to put tires on.
Ward Burton was, I believe he was a lap down, so didn't lose anything by making that stop. We'll double check that. He's going to the tail of the field and now getting set for the restart. Jeff Gordon has led every lap of the 83 we've run so far. We're back under green. On the outside, that's Brad Sorensen. local driver who last fall ran a 300-lap race here with the late model cars that they run here on a weekly basis. He's in the 23 car today. Ran that whole race and still had 7 gallons left in the tank with those limited engines. So he can go the distance. Hung on the outside there as the field goes by underneath. Chuck Bound and Kenny Wallace going past. Racing Radio sponsoring Sorensen.
Here we go with some more of this three-abreast. Tommy Houston down the inside trying at very bottom to get under a couple of cars.
There's 4th place Kenny Wallace. A look back from his rear bumper at Chuck Bound and Joe Nemechek. Wallace in 4th place. Put that bat a little further back. They're all trying to, there's Houston trying to work underneath the lap car of Brad Sorensen.
Yeah, Tommy has been on the bottom all day. You know, he won the race last week, able to work on the bottom of the racetrack, and it seems like that's going to be his place tonight. We still see Presley up front running outside, but it looks like Tommy Houston is going to work on that inside as much as possible.
Good battle right back there in the pack. Steve Grissom right behind that lap car. There's Grissom's 31. Jeff Burton in the 8 car, and Jeff Green up high in the 16. And they're 3 wide with Tom Peck on the bottom and Butch Miller right behind. That's a snarling pack right there.
Yeah, I tell you, when you see something like this, you almost say, man, something's going to happen in a minute. But it's short track racing. That's the way it's supposed to be. The guys will go at it tooth and nail from the time they drop the green flag. And their concern right now is to get out of this pack. One of those 4 cars, those 5, say, hey, I got the ability to get away from it, and they've got to try to get on through this pack and work to the front.
Guy who I think made the good move was Tom Peck. He was way up high, cut way down to the bottom, and now he's going to work his way up through that pack.
Steve Grissom started right up front. He's falling back just a little bit.
There's Peck on the bottom, number 19, underneath Jeff Green, and now going after Jeff Burton. Good move by the Pennsylvania driver. Now Todd Bodine underneath Butch Miller's car. There's a look at the lead Jeff Gordon enjoys, and it's a whopper. Battle for 3rd spot. Kenny Wallace gets it away from Bobby Labonte down there in turn number 1. We'll return to more racing at Lanier in the Nestle 300 after this. 300 is being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. We are 1/3 distance here at Lanier, and a couple of good battles going on behind leader Jeff Gordon, who enjoys a straightaway on Kenny Wallace. There's the 2nd place car coming into view. Bobby Labonte is 3rd, Robert Presley 4th, and right behind them, look at that pack. Left side of your screen. Chuck Bound, Tommy Houston, Joe Nemechek are going at it right behind the leader. There's that pack. Bound trying to hold the advantage. Boy, Tommy Houston's been tough on the bottom of the racetrack today.
I tell you what, Mike, he's driven completely up beside him. He can get all the way up beside him, but he can't clear him. As they go in the corner, he's able to get completely up beside him. Somewhere here he's going to be able to come up and close the door in front of him. If he can ever clear him and get front, then he can go on. But he just can't totally clear him on this move.
Rosa Store Buick, the Nescafe Pontiac, and the Texas Pete Chevrolet all battling.
There's his chance. Now he's in front of them. They pull over and use the entire track.
And that will be 5th place for Tommy Houston. Now Nemechek, that yellow and white 87, trying to follow underneath Chuck Bound. Chuck's going to stay up high. The crew seems to be working well for him. Yeah. Not as well as the bottom worked for Tommy Houston.
Yeah, Nemechek's car is able to get in the bottom as well.
Back up front, Jeff Gordon with a straightaway lead, and now he's beginning to get back into race traffic. Just saw a number of folks with Tony Dow's TWR Jaguar team come over from Road Atlanta across the street. A lot of the road racers coming over here to enjoy this Busch Grand National event. They'll run their Camel GT race over at Road Atlanta tomorrow. Jeff Gordon well out in front. There's 2 lap cars and then a long gap back. Can't even put Kenny Wallace in the same picture.
No, but it's pretty impressive. He got around the 3rd, 4th place cars, and he's pulling away from them. He's the only guy that looks like can match him for speed. I don't know if he can run him down or not.
Neil, the way this is going, we may see our first repeat race winner of 1992. Here back at 8th spot, Tom Peck still has the measure of Jeff Burton, but now Butch Miller on the bottom, Steve Grissom in the 31 car up top, and Todd Bodine are all a part of that battle.
There's Butch Miller trying to bottom, and that's making it 3 abreast. And he was able to stick down that low on the racetrack. The problem is that once you get there, can you go on by? He's got double trouble here. He's got to clear 2 cars from the bottom lane.
And Todd Bodine is coming up, so is Steve Boley. That bottom is the short way around, and for somebody like Tommy Houston, it's been the fast way around, not working quite as well for Butch Miller. There's Miller in 75 underneath Jeff Burton and Steve Grissom. Now the bottom side hooking up for him a little better.
The thing to do on a case like this, Mike, is not try to pass that car 1 lap. You got to be content with a foot this lap, 2 foot the next lap, another foot, and just gradually clear him. If you try to do it all at one time, you'll just burn the tires off. And Butch Miller is a disciplined enough driver that he's got the capability of just easing his way on by.
Now Burton is coming right back at him on the outside, though. And Grissom looks like he wants to go with the 8 car on the high side. I think, Neil, the fastest car on the racetrack right now may be Tommy Houston. He got underneath Robert Presley and picked up the 3rd spot, car number 6, Houston, and is now chasing Bobby Labonte. He had a shot on Labonte 2 laps ago, but lap traffic got in the way.
Well, one thing you can see here, we were bragging about how good his car worked in the bottom of the racetrack. He's going around lap traffic on the outside, so it's working there. When you get one of them to work any place on the track, you're going to be a threat before the night's over.
And he's actually moving away from Presley just a bit, the outside pole sitter. And coming up a little further, back behind Robert Presley, behind the lap car Mike Porter, there's Chuck Bound in Pontiac, and Joe Nemechek. And right with him, 2 more lap cars and then a big gap. Here's Tommy trying the bottom on Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, it worked so well for him last week. He won the race. He's going to stay there a while, but Labonte has been running good. Now, this should be a little tougher pass for Tommy, but he's set back there, and he's been able to pull him off every time he's attempted it. There he is. We see him in the shot there. He just about clear Labonte.
And he has. Tommy Houston has rolled up into 3rd spot. And he's moving away from Bobby in a hurry.
Mike, there's nothing like a win, like you were talking about earlier, to give you that shot in the arm. And they're coming off that win last week, and they got it going again tonight.
Benny Parsons calls it the big mo.
Yep.
Momentum. Now Robert Presley is going to try and work the bottom side a bit. See how he fares against Labonte. Up ahead, Tommy Houston having a little trouble getting by Richard Lassiter. Finally, that bottom groove opens up. Jeff Gordon has been running away from the field, but he's had his hands full with lap traffic. It is Gordon, Kenny Wallace in 2nd, Tommy Houston, the new 3rd place car, Robert Presley 4th, and Bobby Labonte in 5th. We'll be right back. 31 laps complete. Tom Peck has just made a pit stop. And you're watching leader Jeff Gordon in the Baby Ruth #1 Ford, the Bill Davis car, and there's a report of difficulty on that car that the throttle may be sticking. So far, it has not hindered his efforts in running for the lead. There's the Bill Davis crew talking things over.
Mike, they're trying to decide whether they want to bring him in. Certainly leading the race, they'd like to wait for a caution flag. But you can tell he's having a problem with the car. He's been so smooth all day long, and now when he comes off the corner, the car just busts the wheels loose. When he opens the throttle, it's hanging wide open, and he's losing that foot feel that it takes to feed the car off the corner.
Don't know how long he can run with it that way. We'll see. Let's have a look at where your favorite driver is running with the Napa Field Standing Update. Brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Jeff is just lapped by Ricky Craven. And Chuck Bound is back, or rather Jim Bound is back in the race. They picked up, what was it, Nestles Quick as a sponsor for this event, but didn't have time to make up decals for the car. So they've got the one race in the invisible sponsor on Jim Bound's car. But nice to see him get a break.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you know, this Busch Series is getting so strong that you're seeing more and more sponsorship come in. It's pretty stout for a sponsor to say, hey, I'll sponsor you. Don't worry about putting my name on there for a while. But they're really helping them now.
If you joined us late, Atlanta Falcons coach Jerry Glanville attempted to qualify for this race and came up hundredths of a second shy, was not eligible for a provisional spot, and so was unable to start the event. He was the only car that failed to qualify, and again, not by much.
Mike, I'm not so sure that the leader, Butch Miller, just got lapped by the leader, but when he did, off of the corner, Butch Miller nailed him in the rear. I'm not so sure that the one car, Jeff Gordon's not having to start work the switch a little bit now to get the, to just cut the motor off at the throttle hangs, because just every now and then he almost stops and the cars are popping him in the rear.
Neil, what kind of damage can that do to the engine?
Well, it's not good for it, but the problem is having to rely on that ability to stop the car. If that throttle hangs wide open, he's going to knock one of these fences out. And we see right now, here's a car that he had lapped previously driving on around him. He's having a problem working the throttle, and he's losing ground now.
Here's, Neil, we just got a report. Here's what he's doing. He is going down into the corner, and it's the throttle linkage that's hanging, not inside the carburetor. So now he'll come down the front straightaway, lift off the gas, put his foot underneath the pedal, and pull the pedal back.
Mike, I told you before, he's a pretty talented driver. That's a handful, but what happens on most of these gas pedals, they put another little secondary lever on the top where you can hang your toe in it. Just in case it happens, you can lift it up. But you're so used to mashing down, feeding, you get finesse, you feed the throttle down. Coming the other way is the wrong way to do it. Take the power away from the car, and that's hard to do, and he's doing a good job. He's still leading this race, having to work the car that hard.
Well, if he does have that two-way pedal like you described, that shouldn't be too much of a task. But it's not easy. Now he's getting overlapped, or rather Steve Grissom there is right up on him.
Mike, that's where I think he's going to have trouble in lap traffic. Coming up on these lap cars, if his car wasn't handling as well as it is, he would have problems. But when this lap traffic, if somebody stops in front of him real quick, he's going to bust the nose off the front of that race car.
Now, it's not that Grissom is running that badly today. It's just Gordon's running that well to put Steve a lap down. And there's the, trust me, that 98 car says Nestles quick on the side. Sure it does.
Invisible.
Yeah. Coming up on half distance in 5 laps. Most of the teams feel they can run this race the distance on fuel. They're not sure if they can go 300 laps on tires. We'll see. Jeff Gordon, the race leader. Kenny Wallace riding in second. Tommy Houston is third. Bobby Labonte in fourth. Robert Presley fifth. Sixth is Chuck Bound. Seventh, Joe Nemechek. 100 is being brought to you by new Armor All tire foam. Just spray and walk away. 155 laps complete. Here is leader Jeff Gordon coming up on Tracy Leslie. Here's a look at a good battle further back. Chuck Bound, who had some trouble coming out of 4 2 laps ago. Here's what happened.
We get down in the corner. Jeff Green gave us a little shot there to Chuck Bound, and he really did a good job of cranking it back around. That turned the car around.
In the whole NHL playoffs, you won't see a save like that. So there's Bound back running. Back to live action with Bobby Dotter and Tom Peck. Tracy Leslie's car has been overheating. He has gone to pit road after just getting overlapped by the race leader. There's that pack again with Bound trying to regroup, and Tom Peck going around the outside of him.
Like we saw just a few minutes ago, a car came down pit road just to put tires on, and the question is starting to rise again, like we mentioned at the top of the show. What about tire wear? And we're seeing some cars pit on the green and put some tires on these things.
Look at Jeff Green and Steve Boley. And Jeff Gordon continuing to run here with that sticking throttle, and they say they may pit him under caution to try to repair that.
Mike, how would you like to be one of the guys back in the back of your crew calls and says, hey man, hurry up, Jeff Gordon's got a sticking throttle, his car's loose, he's got trouble, and he's driving away from you. What do you do?
Right.
That's not a, see him break the car loose right there. I think he's going to pay the price on down the road with this problem that he's having. He can't finesse that throttle, and he just stands on the gas and hangs open. He's spinning the tires every lap up off the corner. It might not hurt him right now, but before the course of the night's over, he's going to wear those rear tires out.
And Kenny Wallace is catching him. Here's back to battle for 4th place. Robert Presley in 59. Bobby Labonte in 44. And Joe Nemechek in 87. All a part of that. And meanwhile, the 2nd place car, Kenny Wallace, can see Jeff Gordon up ahead in the left upper corner of your picture. He is catching the race leader.
And that's the first time we've been able to say that all day long. He can get a little sniff of Gordon up there now, and then he's going to kind of set up on the edge of that seat some more and try to work on up to him. When you can see the leader like that, it gives you a little more incentive to try to close in.
If I can see him, I can catch him.
It was about a straightaway a while ago. We're down to about a half a straightaway and really closing the gap on him.
Bobby Dotter has gone to pit road. He'll put tires, left side tires. No, make that right side tires on his car. There's Kenny Wallace running in second. Winner at Martinsville back in March. Bobby Dotter making that stop is on the Hoosier tires.
Mike, that little whiff of smoke that we saw earlier out of Kenny Wallace's car seemed to have gone away. It happened right at the end of the straightaway, and I'm seeing every now and then you see a little whiff come out of it. It seems like when he really gets the whip after the car, it gets smoking a little bit.
Let's show you the distance. There is Jeff Gordon going out of the picture, and here is Kenny Wallace.
1.5 seconds, and a while ago it was up to about 3.
Meanwhile, Gordon has just lapped the 9th place car, Todd Bodine. Now, here's Gordon coming up off the corner to the start-finish line. And there's Wallace, 1.3 seconds.
That's 2/10 in one lap. He's really closing in on him, and I'm not so sure he's closing in as much as Jeff Gordon is having to be a little more careful and back the car up to him.
Richard Lassiter on pit road. Who's having a great run here today is Steve Foley in Sam Ard's car. He had been hanging on to the tail end of the lead lap and doing real well. I'd rather in Jack Ingram's car, the 10 car.
I tell you, he's ran a few races now, and he's getting a feel. He's an excellent racer, but when you come to a different brand and type of race car, it's taking him a while, but he's really settling in.
Jack Sprague is on pit road. He will get tires, left side tires on the Staff America Old. And I believe he may also be a Hoosier car. Back up front, Jeff Gordon. And that Ford it's really taking the punishment today, but it's dishing it out to the rest of this field too, Neil.
Yeah, Mike, but I mean, each lap it's getting a little harder for him to do. Watch him right here. They're going on the bottom. Watch the rear of the car break loose up off this corner. Every lap he's just slinging the rear out about 6 or 8 inches, and that's slipping those rear tires.
Back at third place, good battle. Robert Presley in 59. Bobby Labonte in 44, the defending Busch Series champ. And Joe Nemechek in 87. Tom Peck is right there in number 19, and we'll double check, see if Peck had gone a lap down earlier. Report from the pits is the Jack Sprague's tires were completely shot. And scoring is showing Tom Peck in the number 19, 1 lap down. Also, Tommy Houston hanging well. He's right behind Nemechek, according to our unofficial rundown.
There's Presley and Ward Burton getting together coming off the corner.
Ward went a lap down early when he had no hood pins at the start of the show. The hood flew up and he had to pit.
Here we are with Kenny Wallace making a move to the outside of Jeff Gordon, I'm sorry. And there's nothing Jeff can do. He can't work the car, and he's not the type of driver that's going to make a big mistake. All he can do now is hope for a caution where they can fix that throttle for him.
Jeff Gordon led the first 177 laps before surrendering the lead to Kenny Wallace. That is the first lead change of the day. That's a rarity on this circuit. Wallace, the winner at Martinsville, Virginia back in March.
There's no doubt Kenny Wallace's car is running good. That's the shot he'd like to see. This is out of the back of Kenny Wallace's car. And there's Jeff Gordon right there. That's he'd rather look at him in that rear mirror than out that windshield, I promise you.
Both those cars have nearly a half a lap on Robert Presley in third place. Fourth is Bobby Labonte. Fifth is Nemechek. And Tommy Houston is sliding way back in the field.
Mike, what the difference a week makes. Here's Jeff Gordon just doing anything. He'd take anything right now to get a caution flag. Last week we had more than anybody ever wanted. He can't get a caution to get that car fixed.
I think we used up the caution quotient last week. And Gordon's in trouble in the backstretch. That car almost came to a stop in the back straightaway. I believe he's cut a tire, Neil?
Yeah, I believe it's the right rear tire.
It is. The right rear tire is down on the rim. There was a lapped car underneath, and he could not get into the pits that time.
Mike, that is exactly what we were talking about early. As long as he could control the car, he fed the throttle, and the guy's got enough ability to take care of it. Then all of a sudden, it was that ability was taken away from him. He just burned the rear tires off.
Glenn Jarrett is in Jeff Gordon's pit. Glenn?
Well, Gordon is bringing the Baby Ruth Ford down now for service. His tires are completely worn out. Car owner Bill Davis told me right before that incident happened on the racetrack that they were really concerned. Wow, you can see that the air cleaner, the air element lid was off of it. That's what was causing the throttle to stick on the car. They were worried about that. Fortunately, not as bad a problem as they thought. They just took the whole air filter, element box, and everything off, put right side tires on him, down and away, but he's got a lot of ground to make up now.
I believe he lost at least one lap, likely two, both slowing down and getting in and out of the pits. So Kenny Wallace is the new leader here at Lanier Raceway. We'll be right back. Who has come from 10th on the grid to lead after Jeff Gordon had first throttle trouble, which led to tire trouble. But now he's flying. Let's go to Glenn.
Well, Mike, those two right side tires are the reason. The right front tire is still in pretty good shape, but like we said earlier, that car was turning so good, starting to spin the rear tire. It wore that right rear completely out. It was flat. I have never seen so much interest in used tires as what there was after that crew got those tires off. A crewman from all of the cars in the top 5 was here inspecting those tires, so they're all concerned about this.
Scoring tells us Jeff Gordon is 2 laps down, but he's flying. He's right up on Robert Presley, the second place car.
Mike, right now he is running so fast with those new tires. And see, they took the air cleaner element completely off, so the throttle problem is gone. The problem he's got now is these guys are just in his way. He's going to pass them like they're tied to a tree with those new tires on that car.
Kenny Wallace leads Robert Presley by between half and 3/4 of a lap as Mike Wallace makes a pit stop. There's Kenny working around Mike Oliver's car and looking for his second win of the season, as was Jeff Gordon. We said earlier, it looks as if we may have our best chance of the year so far for a repeat winner. We've gone 8 races, and nobody has 2 wins. Todd Bodine in the pits for right side tires. Here's Robert Presley, the second place car, holding Bobby Labonte off, and Tracy Leslie, who's a lap down. Presley, who picked up a win at Darlington. Mike Porter's car has gone behind the wall and out of the race. Joining Jason Keller. And here's Steve Grissom on pit road for tires as well.
Mike, it looked like he was completely out of tires when he went down in the corner. The back end came around. Looks like all these guys are going to look at tire problems.
There's Grissom getting right side. Neil, do you take on 2 or 4 when you got to change them under green like this?
I tell you what, they're going to do 2. There's no way they can afford to do 4, but somebody might weigh that thing out on a caution. You just lose 2 lap penalty. They're losing 2 like this. It might be the thing on the caution. Throw 4 on it and take the penalty.
Battle for second spot, Neil. Robert Presley and Bobby Labonte has caught him and deals with him. Labonte on the outside. Gets that good run up off the corner. And here comes Presley right back to him. Ward Burton coming in for tires.
There's that old deal where you can catch them. It's easy to catch them sometimes, but it's hard to get around them.
Yep.
He's not going to give up any ground without a battle.
Tommy Houston had come up into the top 5, and now he has backslid to the point of going almost a lap down. We'll try to get word from Glenn on what has happened to Houston's car. And it looks like Tommy may just be out of tires, like a lot of people.
Mike, it looks like a lot of guys are slowing down now. Jeff Gordon is out there on fresh tires and a couple of the other cars, and Gordon has made up almost 3/4 of a lap since that pit stop ball ago.
A lot of cars here are driving like on ice. They just completely used up their race rubber and are trying to hang on for the remaining 96 laps of this race. Kenny Wallace now out in front of this field, looking for his second win of 1992 and looking for what else this season, Kenny?
You know, to come out of the season right now and want to race at Martinsville, you know, and have some good runs under our belt, you know, means a lot to the team, and, you know, we'll take it right now. We just need to try to stay consistent and, you know.
Nestles Chilled Beverages 300 is being brought to you by Avalon Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Kenny Wallace in tight traffic, real tight as he threads the needle and can't get through Jeff Burton and Butch Miller.
He had to unthread the needle. He got it in there, and there was one room he had to pull it back out, wait for another chance to get around these guys.
Talk about rush hour traffic and how tough it is. Kenny Wallace got a snoop full of it right there. Average speed slowed today by 3 caution flags, none serious. Now Kenny Wallace working hard to get past Jeff Burton on the outside. Burton, though, is locked up in a race with Butch Miller and Bobby Doddard. And now NASCAR getting the word from Kenny Wallace's crew chief. They want Jeff Burton moved over to let the leader pass. Now Kenny, he won't try that middle again, will he?
I'll tell you what, the flagman is really putting a move-over flag on Burton, but he's just not yielding that room, and it could be a problem in a second.
Let's see, Butch Miller in 75 is every bit as fast as Burton. Burton's really got nowhere to go to get out of the way, and now Butch Miller actually let him in. Let Jeff Gordon get in there. And Jeff, bottom side, Jeff. And now Miller's going to pay for that politeness as Bobby Doddard gets underneath him.
Well, several positions. Here's the opportunity for Kenny Wallace to get under this car. He's followed the car and followed. He's wanting to get around him, tail him up about 5 or 6 laps.
Jeff, he was running for position on the outside of Butch Miller. It wasn't as if he was out purposely blocking the race leader. He had his own battle going on.
I was saying he's holding him up. He's able to battle right with the leader.
Yep.
So maybe he was holding his own.
Well, that battle picks up behind the race leader once again. While we were away, Jeff Gordon black flagged by NASCAR. And we'll check with Glenn Jarrett, but I believe they brought him in and made him put that air cleaner back on.
While they were doing that, Mike, that's about the biggest fit I've ever seen a race team throw. There were 2 inspectors there, but there were about 7 crew members climbing all over him. They didn't like that black flag and bringing him back in. We just saw Tommy Houston on the inside right there. We've got word now that he doesn't have any brakes on his car, and he's really falling back.
Counts for him being a lap down at this stage. Now, Jeff Gordon is flying, but he is 5 laps behind. He lost 2 when they came in to fix the hung throttle and lost 3 more coming back in to replace the air cleaner. Reported it's the 3rd time this year Tommy Houston's had brake trouble.
And sometimes you'll get on a problem like that, and it's just hard to correct it. You try all these different deals, and he's had that problem repeatedly. They're going to have to fix it, or it's going to plague him all year long. There's Jeff Gordon trying to work his way back up there. He's so far down now, it's going to be tough. No more laps are left.
75 to go, Neil. Tries to work underneath Todd Bodine without success. 75 laps to run. Kenny Wallace looking for win number 2 of the season. Robert Presley started on the outside pole, had a great run going here. He's in 2nd, and he has Bobby Labonte right with him. Watching Kenny Wallace, the race leader, at Lanier. Some 75 laps to go. That's the way they're running. We'll be right back. Double Pontiac. Butch Miller just made a pit stop for right side tires. Mike Wallace came in and got left side while we were away. Kenny Wallace picked up the lead from Jeff Gordon, who pitted after cutting down a right rear tire after sticking the throttle and then had to come back into the pits per NASCAR. Glenn Jarrett is down in Gordon's pit.
Bill Davis, what was the reason for that mandatory pit stop?
Well, I'm not sure what the question was. They flagged like this because on an earlier stop, the killers been sticking all day. We took their cleaner off because obviously we can't run safely like that. Then they let us run all those laps, let us come back. That's a good call. It's an unfortunate to have him out there with accelerators that can stick.
Well, you can see the dismay in his face. He's not very happy about it, and I don't really blame him.
Gordon is back on track, but he is 5 laps down to race leader Kenny Wallace, and in danger of that being 6 here in a moment.
Well, I mean, he just got one of those back.
Excuse me.
He just got one
Make
back,
it
Mike, so it's 4 down, but there's just not enough time. He's flying, but it's not going to do him a whole lot good right now.
He'll pick up a few spots, but not too many. And now Kenny's slowing up. Ford Burton goes past the race leader.
Mike, you know, don't want to say anything at this time of the race, but, you know, everybody's stringing their tires as far as they can, and usually when this happens, somebody's going to have a tire failure. You know, if you keep running and wait for a caution, you just hope it's not yourself. And Kenny Wallace's car is really laying down on him right now. There's a lot of people going around him. He's either being real cautious. There's right in front of him here. There's a car just stopped out by the wall.
Steve Grissom.
Steve Grissom. He lost his tires a few laps ago, been just poking around there trying to stay out. But hopefully we won't have one of these guys lose a tire.
Let's have a look at the Napa Field standing update, brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Now, each of the cars that is passing Kenny Wallace has been into the pits for fresh tires and losing approximately 2 laps in the process.
He can afford to give those laps up where the guys pitted and lost the time, but he sure slowed down a lot. Maybe just being cautious knowing he's got a lot of tire wear.
56 to go. That's a long time to run when your tires aren't working.
Yeah, it's you know, if you got to nurse the car, and boy, Kenny's car is really getting loose. He got a lot looser up off the corner then than Jeff Gordon was doing earlier, so he's definitely going to have his hands full for the rest of this race.
What will work in his favor, one, the big lead that he had. It was at one time 3/4 of a lap. It is now about 1/3 of a lap on Robert Presley. The other thing in Wallace's favor, there are only 5 cars on the lead lap.
You're right there, Mike, but the problem you have with a tire situation like this is these tires have about 4, 5, 30 seconds of rubber on it. They feel pretty good, and when they feel bad, they're gone. You're out of rubber, you're sitting on the cords, and it's not very many laps after that. You've got to do something or you're going to have a failure.
Battle for 4th place here, Chuck Bound and Joe Nemechek. Now there's Jeff Gordon right in the middle of it, 4 laps down, but running his way back toward the front as best he can. As we told you near the top of the show, this race originally was scheduled for 200 laps. And when the Goodyear tire folks did their testing, decided what tire compound to run here and build all the tires for this race, they were planning on a 200-lap event, and then the race distance was changed to 300 laps. Bob Newton of Hoosier Tire told us that the race distance does not figure into his calculations in what type of tire to design for this race. So interesting to see how this sorts out.
I think the general consensus in the garage area was once they extended 300 laps, they'd like to have the option to put tires on, but they stuck with the 4-tire rule.
And that's the rule of NASCAR, not the tire companies, that you could run this race on one set of tires, and if you stopped under caution to replace tires, it would cost you 2 laps.
The reason for this, Mike, is the simple cost of the tires. They're
right.
trying to save as much money as possible for these teams, and if you can do it on 4 tires, that's the way to do it.
Kenny Wallace about to give up or give a lap back to his older brother Mike, the Moroso car, the Daly's first aid car. And there's the leader. And let's pedal back a bit from Kenny Wallace to find the second place car of Robert Presley is well back, nearly half a lap. But it looks like Presley is closing the distance. Steve Grissom battling there with Butch Miller underneath the race leader.
We just talked about 3 laps ago. He put some tires on it that really picked him up.
And here's Robert Presley coming underneath Jeff Burton. It's 1/3 of a lap on this 3/8 of a mile speedway. And they have 46 laps to run. There's Robert Presley, second generation driver. And Butch Miller has gained a lap back from Kenny Wallace. Let's check this interval from the start-finish stripe. There's Kenny Wallace. And here comes the black car, Robert Presley, 5 seconds. First to second. Back in third is Bobby Labonte. 4th is Chuck Bound, and 5th is Joe Nemechek. Those are the only cars on the lead lap. 1 lap down in 6th is Steve Foley. And what a drive he's having for Jack Ingram today.
Mike, you were talking earlier what a good job he's doing. And he's trying to pace himself into this type of racing, and this race is coming to him today.
Kenny Wallace trying to hang on for his second of the year. 42 laps to go. Just 300 is being brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time. At Lanier Raceway in North Georgia, Kenny Wallace is hoping he has time for 33 more laps on this set of tires as he leads this race and finds that lead ever dwindling. Now Jeff Gordon has begun to have more problems.
You know, Mike, he sat on the pole and he really thought he was in good shape. Watch the car go off in the corner. Watch the smoke trail out of the back of it right here. All of a sudden, he's starting to pick up a little bit of a problem there. And much more of that now. Black flagging. I wouldn't want to be the guy to tell that crew to bring him in one more time.
Meanwhile, Robert Presley has cut Kenny Wallace's lead now to a quarter lap. But Presley has to deal with traffic, as does the race leader. There's a look at Presley working his way around Mike Oliver. There's something about trouble in turn one. A car spins. Ooh, and almost gets head-on. Finally, the caution flag waves. That was a close one.
Mikey lost it coming off fourth turn, spun around there, and it looked like he might have, might be down on some tire wear. We keep repeating that, but it's giving all the drivers a problem. Now, the big question is, what do you do now? Do you leave tires alone, or what do you do?
Tommy Houston, I thought he was headed for pit road, but it's closed this time around. Sammy Pegram was the car that spun, the number 50 car. And so while we're under this brief caution flag, we'll take a break from Lanier. 29 laps to go. They will turn to pit road. Joe Nemechek and Jeff Burton just collided in a big way. And we were going one to go. There's the damage to Nemechek's car. The field had gotten a take one, and now we're going to stay under caution. One car wanted the pit lane, and the other one tried at the same time, and two cars wouldn't fit into that pit entrance. Butch Miller is also in, getting tires, and they're going to flap a little sheet metal. They need the cutters to get that piece off of Joe Nemechek's car. Nope, away it goes. Good thing they brought the Hickory car up here, because it doesn't look any worse than it did at the end of last week's show.
Yeah, it's getting to look like it did last week. They got a couple of those sitting around now.
Seeing a little smoke out of the back of Kenny Wallace's car. See if they can get that vacuumed up. More under caution than we do under green. There it is.
Mike, earlier, we saw a lot of, smoke right at the end of the straightaway. Now at slow speed, you can see the smoke really coming out of the back of Kenny Wallace's car. But when he gets up to speed, it seems to go away.
4 events have been run on this track in the Busch Grand National Division. David Green won last year. Chuck Bound in 90. Ronald Cooper and Tommy Houston have gone to victory lane here in this division. Kenny Wallace is trying to do it today. But now, his quarter lap lead is erased. Bobby Labonte and Robert Presley are going to challenge for the lead.
There's Labonte down on the inside. And you had a chance right now. Here they are side by side for the lead.
The two drivers who battled for the 91 championship down to the final day of the season are now battling for the lead. And right behind them, Robert Presley and Chuck Bound have the best seats in the house.
Yeah, if these two guys race side by side, Presley might have the seat in the house if they don't get away from it.
Wallace led 100 laps, and now it's Bobby Labonte in front, the third leader of the day in the Slim Jim Chevrolet. Kenny Wallace hanging with him. 21 laps to go.
We haven't talked about Labonte much. He sat back there and nursed his car along and he seems to have the quickest car right now.
A lot like his older brother Terry, who's had a good string of top 10 finishes in Winston Cup this year. Bobby's kind of quiet. If the car won't run out in front of the lead, you won't see him much. But when it comes time to ring the bell, there he is.
This car's working so good. Watch Kenny Wallace behind him. Kenny's really trying to get the whip out after his car, and he's breaking it loose up off the corner real bad. So he's trying everything he can to close him back in.
And right behind them, great battle for third. There it is, Chuck Bound on the inside of Robert Presley. 19 laps to go. And Bound, who won here in 1990, will get the spot. So move Chuck up to third. Robert Presley to fourth. Fifth is still Joe Nemechek. Still on the lead lap despite that altercation at the entrance of the pits with Jeff Burton. Trouble in turn 2. Ward Burton goes around, and we get a caution. Lap 284, and it's the 5th caution of the day.
With that last caution, we saw a lead change. We saw him close up, and 44 car got the inside line, got around. This gives Kenny Wallace an opportunity to try it again. Maybe Chuck Bound. He made a move around Presley. He might have something for him.
Bobby Labonte's last win came in August at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He's looking for his third Busch career victory today. And right with him, Kenny Wallace, who won this spring at Darlington, or rather at Martinsville. Then Chuck Bound. Chuck's last victory at New River in July of '91. Let's go down to the Chuck Bound pits in Glen Jarrett.
Well, we're standing alongside of Jeff Hensley, the crew chief. And Jeff, these caution flags are just what you guys were waiting for. You got a quick race car.
Yeah, we're running good, but man, the Nescafe Nestle Pontiac's been in this position too many times and hadn't got a win. And hopefully, you know, if things will hold out, we may give them a run for their money. I think we're a little bit quicker than Kenny, but I don't know about Bobby. He's drove a real smart race, and he may be a little bit better, but still, we still got about 15 laps to go if we just hang in there and put this Nescafe Nestle Pontiac in the victory lane, hopefully. I'm nervous. I don't know what to say here. How are you going?
Well, I heard him tell the crew that he wanted one more caution because he felt like they had the quickest car. Mike?
Well, they got one. There's Chuck Bound, July of '91, his last victory. He's had 10 of them on this tour. And, of course, the championship.
You know, they need a good finish here. He had a good finish at Martinsville, but the car was torn up. They wrecked coming off the last turn and damaged the cars real bad, so he needs a good run here.
There'll be 4 cars. The front 4 cars will be lined up, and now Joe Nemechek coming up to the inside. The 5th place car on the lead lap. That caution flag, a big break for Nemechek, who had that late pit stop under the last caution. So now the front 5 are all lined up, and this 300-lap endurance test is going to become a 12-lap shootout. Pace cars in. Bobby Labonte hauls them off turn 4, and here we go to settle it. Let's see who the straw is that stirs the drink. Labonte, Wallace, Bound, Presley, Nemechek.
Here comes Kenny Wallace back on the inside. He got the nose out there, but he couldn't do anything with him.
Don't think that caution did Kenny Wallace's car any good. Chuck Bound right there, ready to pounce on second spot. And Robert Presley. Nemechek has fallen back a bit. 4 cars are in it for the win with 11 to go. Jeff Gordon will get another of his laps back. He's now 3 laps down. Mike Wallace to the outside. Jack Sprague right behind the race leader. And Bobby Labonte is running away from Kenny Wallace and Chuck Bound.
You know, Mike Kenny's had to go from offense to defense, holding off the 63 cars.
So the race will be back at second. Wallace in 36, Bound in 63, and Presley in 59. 9 laps to go. And Bobby Labonte may extend this series' unbelievable string of 9 different winners in 9 races. Talk about parity in close competition. There's Kenny Wallace trying to hold off Chuck Bound. And he won't give Chuck the bottom, and there's no room up top. Todd Bodine is there. 7 laps.
It looks like he's going to have to move. It looks like Chuck Bound's going to have to try the outside because Kenny is really protecting the inside line there.
And look who's coming up. Presley and Nemechek are coming back to this battle for second place.
Looks like Chuck Bound's going to venture out there on the outside, see if he can do anything with him.
Well, he saw Todd Bodine drive away from Kenny, so here he goes.
Got the count on him getting in the corner. They're pretty even. Should be able to make a move up off the corner on him here.
And does. Chuck Bound will go to second spot. Well, Wallace still has some left for him. Just can't get the rubber down out of turn 2. 5 to go.
Here's Presley coming up on Kenny Wallace now.
Second, third, and 4th. And Bobby Labonte, though, right now owns a lead of half a straightaway on Chuck Bound. Now, Chuck is eating that up. 4 laps just wouldn't be enough time.
Labonte got a good start and left Chuck Bound back there battling for second place and got him enough cushion that looks like to hold him off unless he has a problem.
3 to go. Two laps, and it's pretty well decided here. Bobby Labonte with Chuck Bound reeling him in. But Chuck still has half a straightaway to go. There's first place. There's second, top of your screen. White flag for Bobby Labonte. 2 strong top 3 finishes in a row for that Slim Jim car. And around turn 4 to the checkered flag, Bobby Labonte earns his 3rd career Busch Grand National victory. Second will go to Chuck Bound. 3rd to Kenny Wallace, who holds off Robert Presley and Joe Nemechek. So Labonte picks up the win and the goodies invitation for the 300 in Daytona next February. We'll be back. New Rams UV99 protects your car from the sun's damaging ultraviolet rays, the sunblock for your car. For the 3rd time in his career, Bobby Labonte is in victory lane, and Glenn Jarrett's there.
Well, he just got a big hug from his dad, Bob. Very happy crew here. Looks like you finally got the monkey off your back, Bobby.
Well, it looks like it. You know, this Slim Jim Chevrolet run real great all day. Carl Wagner built us a great engine. Can't say enough about all the guys in the crew. You know, they did all the work. I've kind of laid off this week because I tore it up last week, so maybe they'll let me work this week, but or maybe I don't need to work. But anyway, it's been a good day here. You know, I tell you, we rolled off the truck. We were pretty decent. You know, I just didn't know how we were going to be late in the race, and so far, the Slim Jim Chevrolet just run good all day.
You think you could have done it without that late caution flag?
Well, I seen Kenny coming, you know, I was catching him, but I don't know, it would have been close.
All right, what about the advice and the help that David Green, who's won so many races here in your crew, do you think that was instrumental in the victory?
Well, I guess the only thing I can say is if he was driving, he probably would have left the field, so I'm not going to say too much about him, but he's an excellent driver, and he's helping us out, and I hope nobody wants to hire him away just right off because he's helping our team out. Not saying nothing about all the guys because they're doing an excellent job. It's been a great team effort between everybody, and we kind of struggled a little bit, but now I think we're on a roll, I hope anyway.
He's been a little bit modest. He did a super job out there today. Mike?
He did a great job. Fellow behind him in victory lane there, Doug Agee, was the guy who had to hand out a 55-gallon drum of headache powder up at Hickory last week, and he'll give Bobby Labonte that goodies invitation here. We'll talk to more drivers in a moment. First, remind you that this copyrighted telecast of the Nestle Chilled Beverages 300 is produced under television rights granted by Lanier Raceway and is intended solely for the use of our audience. Any retransmission or reuse of the pictures, accounts, and descriptions of this event without the express written consent of the Nashville Network is prohibited. Here's a look at the top 20 as we run them down today. Labonte, Chuck Bound. The Hensley team picks up a good finish. Kenny Wallace is 3rd. Robert Presley 4th, keeping it tied up in the points. Joe Nemechek 5th, the point standing runner-up. We'll keep the pressure on Kenny Wallace at the top of the point list. 6 through 10, 1 lap down. Todd Bodine was 6th. Jeff Burton was 7th. Steve Boley, the dirt tracker from Iowa, in Jack Ingram's car, picked up 8th. Tom Peck was 9th today, and rookie Ricky Craven got the 10th spot. Back at 11th was Jeff Gordon. Despite all that trouble, he raced his way back to 11th spot. And Brad Sorensen, the 35-year-old local driver in the Mike Laughlin car, did real well here today. Tommy Houston, fading brakes. He faded to 13th. Steve Grissom, after a couple of stops, was 14th. And Butch Miller had to put tires on late and ended up 15th. Jeff Green picked up the 16th spot. Bobby Daughter ran 17th. Sammy Pegram was 18th. Mike Wallace and Richard Lassiter rounded out the top 20. 26 of the 28 starters were running at the conclusion of this event. Hardly any attrition. Only Mike Porter and Jason Keller ended up in the garage area before this one was over. We're going on to Nazareth, Pennsylvania in 2 weeks here on TNN, and then, Neil, we're going to the Winston. Under the lights at Charlotte, they had over 40,000 people there for their nighttime test. Pretty good show.
Boy, I tell you, Mike, all the drivers are tickled to death with the lighting at the track. I can't wait to get up and see what it looks like.
It's going to be fun. We'll be right back here to Lanier after this.
A guy who has received a lot of awards throughout his racing career. This is Jack Ingram, the many-time national champion of this division. Today, he is the crew chief on car number 10, driven by Steve Boley. Steve did a fine job, brought home in 8th place, and you guys, Jack, are the winner of the Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew Award. This is probably your first pit crew or crew chief award, isn't it?
Well, it's the first award of any kind standing right here in these pits. I didn't do much. Steve did it all. He's doing better. It's his 3rd race. He's an old dirt track driver, and he's getting a little of that dirt out of him each time he goes out on the racetrack.
Well, but you guys got a lot of experience on this asphalt. You still know your way around these tracks, so you can help him out.
Oh, yeah. We got the car set up pretty good for him, and he's just a rookie, but he's doing pretty good.
Okay, congratulations, Jack Ingram. Back upstairs to Mike Joy.
Jack, of course, is the winningest driver in the history of this series. Still a lot of racing here for the fans on hand at Lanier, and you're looking at the back straightaway. It's terraced where folks can park their cars and picnic and watch the races. And then Neil, when they have the nighttime shows, when something happens big on the racetrack, they'll flash their lights and blow their horns and create all kinds of ruckus.
Mike, this is the way racing's been through the years. You know, pull in and build a racetrack down in a little bowl and use the hillsides for the grandstands, and they're taking advantage of it right here.
There are other short tracks. Middletown, New York comes to mind, where they have this kind of terracing on the back straightaway. There's a lot of picnic area here down in turns 1 and 2 on the hillside. It's not just all grandstand seats. In fact, Lanier, if it wasn't so short, it would look a lot like Road Atlanta right across the street. And that's the 2.5-mile road race course where I started this show. I think those are the Xerox Saab cars practicing for their event, part of Camel GT weekend tomorrow over at Road Atlanta. And, of course, NHRA up where you started the day up in Commerce, Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, we're up doing a winter show on Eddie Hill, and, boy, they're running close to 300 miles an hour and headed back to tomorrow to see what's going on.
Unbelievable. Some great racing, and we'll be able to talk to more of the top finishers in this event. Believe it or not, Bobby Labonte, in the 4 races they had run here previously, had never finished higher than 7th on this racetrack. Today he drives all the way to victory lane. Great job for the young driver out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Being congratulated and getting the Busch Series award there from the Anheuser-Busch rep as the hat dance in victory lane continues. At Lanier Raceway, Glenn Jarrett tracking down some more stories for us down in the garage area of drivers that ran and finished well here today. Chuck Bowden, of course, had a victory, picked up a 2nd here today. Kenny Wallace had a top 5 finish previously, picked up another one. Let's go back to Glenn.
Well, thanks, Mike. We're with 4th place finisher Robert Presley. Robert, looks like tire wear was the factor out there today. Looks like you had a handful.
Yeah, I did. Them last 20 laps, you know, me and Bobby just sat there. We was creeping up on Kenny, you know, just about 2/10 a lap, and cut it down from like a 12-second lead to 5. But then whenever caution come out, I run over something, I guess, and the left rear tire went down on it. And, you know, whenever he went, I couldn't go nowhere then.
Well, all in all, though, still a better day than last week.
Oh, God, yeah. You know, at least we had a good racetrack to race on today.
Okay, thanks.
Neil, here's another guy I think that somebody's going to snatch out of this series and into Winston Cup before long.
Yeah, every time we see him run, he gets better and better. He's really coming around.
Well, they're working hard on the grill here, and we'll be back with more from Lanier right after these messages. Here at Lanier led 100 laps of this race today and looked like he had a good shot to win it. Glenn?
Really strong run for Kenny Wallace. He's a little subdued now, a little disappointed, but still a pretty good day. Was it tires in the end that got you, Kenny?
Yeah, you know, I got to plug Dirt Devil. Dirt Devil Pontiac, they done a great job, but, you know, Goodyear had a good tire here. They didn't really, blister didn't have nothing, just the left rear kind of wore out on it, and that's what got me there at the end, you know. The boys told me there with about 25 to go, we had a 7-second lead, and I really hated to see that caution, but, you know, Bobby's a good racer, and he deserved the win today. He paced himself real good, and, you know, what can I say? We'll take 3rd and go on to Pulaski.
Well, we saw a little bit of smoke from your car all day long. Was that anything serious? What was causing that?
Well, this rear end, we tested this car a couple weeks ago, and we had some problem out, and we thought we fixed it. Evidently, we have a pressure problem in the rear end, blowing a little bit of smoke out, you know. It wasn't really throwing the oil out, but, you know, once again, we'll have to go back, tear the car apart. This is Charlie Brown, too, by the way. The car that I've won all the races with is Bobby Brown, so we figured we'd have Charlie Brown. This is her sister. They both live on the hill. This one finally come down to play with Bobby, so we're happy for it. This is the first race for it. It led all day and finished 3rd, so it's a good omen for us.
Well, in a good day, he's still got that Busch Grand National points lead. Mike?
That's true. He's still at the top. Next week, this series goes to Radford, Virginia, the Granger Select 200. We'll be back on the air in 2 weeks at Nazareth, Pennsylvania with the Pontiac Pace Sitters 200 on that unique 5-corner racetrack at Nazareth, PA in Andretti Country. And then coming on TNN, the long-anticipated running of the Winston, one hot summer night under the lights. Neil, gosh, that's going to be fun.
I tell you what, all the testing, there's been 30 to 40,000 people come every time they open the gate just to see what it's like, and they're tickled to death with it, and I can't wait to get up and see what happens myself.
And we'll be there in just a couple of weeks here, live on TNN.
I might be right there. I'm going to get me a hamburger.
I'm going down to Glenn Jarrett. One more time. Glenn?
Well, you're looking at the right front of Joe Nemechek's car. Joe, you had a good run all day long, but what happened down there coming on pit road?
Well, there was like 30 laps to go there, and they gave the 1 to go signal, and the crew come on the radio and said 1 to go, and I said fine. I was in the bottom groove, and Jeff Burton was up high. He didn't see me. I was kind of in his blind spot, and right at the last minute, his crew radioed him and told him to turn in the pits.
So he whipped it in front of me when I was accelerating to get up to where I was supposed to be, and it was a heck of an impact.
Well, it was, and it caused a little bit of anguish with you. I saw a little steering wheel pounding there in frustration while you were sitting on pit road.
Well, we had such a good car, and we just been riding, taking it easy, and we had tires left for the end of the race, and that was the whole plan, and got right down to the end, and now I have a flat tire, and the steering wheel's all twisted out of shape, and I said, oh no, but we were lucky we didn't lose a lap. It flattened the right front, so we changed it, and the Texas Pete Chevrolet, it ran good all day and just biding our time, and hopefully we're going to get one here soon.
Well, he's been running good all year, and believe me, he will get one soon.
Joe Nemechek had a good run here today. Look at some of the cars that are being worked on back in the garage here and getting ready to load up and go up to Pulaski Speedway for next weekend's Busch Grand National event. TNN this year brings you more Busch Grand National racing than all other TV networks combined. We have 16 of the 28 races that are being televised this season as we get ready to go to Nazareth, and then of course we'll go on to the Winston.
Mike, those guys look at those cars in the pits after last week, win, lose, or draw. They got to feel good this week just to be able to roll it up in the trailer in one piece.
Good crowd on hand here at Lanier. About half of them have gone, but the rest are here to still see some good racing action. The short track cars that run here on a weekly basis are set to run as the grills and the cookers come out. Now, they've already seen some hot action here for 300 laps. Great country up here in North Georgia. TNN, of course, is exploring America all year long, and there's lots to see and do in the North Georgia area. Lake Lanier, kind of like Lake Norman up in North Carolina, where a lot of the Winston Cup folks live. Lake Lanier is named for the 19th century Georgia poet laureate Sidney Lanier. The main tributary into Lake Lanier is the Chattahoochee River. Great place to see as TNN explores America all season long. Well, there's a lot going on here tomorrow in the area. NHRA up at Commerce, Georgia. Camel GT across the street. Let's talk with a fellow who had a fine run and a second place finish. Just kind of ran out of time there in those closing laps, Glenn.
Well, this is Chuck Bound, and Chuck, like Mike Joyce says, you just ran out of time there. I believe you could have got him.
Yeah, I needed a caution late in the race, but I didn't need the second one right behind it. We just kind of ran out of time. I don't know if I could have done anything with Bobby or not. He ran an awful good race, and I congratulate him. But second feels good. We're still looking for our first victory in '92 with an Escafé and ST Pontiac, but we're happy with the way the day ended up.
Well, you got to be feeling good now. It seems like the monkey's off your back, and things are getting a little bit more back to normal.
Yeah, my PR people are telling me we've cracked into the top 10 in the points now, so we're coming.
Okay, that's it from down here. Mike Joy?
That's the new Chuck Bound, sans mustache. Seems to be working.
Yep.
Well, we've had fun here at Lanier, and we'll pack up our tent, as will these teams, and see you up at Nazareth, Pennsylvania here in 2 weeks from today. Today's coverage of the Nestles Chilled Beverages 300 has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste, so get out of the old, get into the cold. Two weeks from today, Nazareth, Pennsylvania is the scene of our next TNN live Busch Grand National Series racing telecast. For Neil Bonnet and Glenn Jarrett, this is Mike Joy. For all of us at TNN, congratulating Bobby Labonte on his third career Busch Grand National win here at Lanier Raceway.